All right, everybody keeps asking how a cigar is made. All the details, the rolling, the bunching, putting the wrapper on. There's only one guy. Oh,
sorry, I'm just promoting.
There's only one guy who can explain this.
I'll try.
Well.
I'll try my best. So cigar makers work by pairs, right? We got the buncher and we got the roller. So we first start with the buncher. The buncher works with the binders and the fillers of the cigar that we're working on. So he has his binder here in the middle, and then he has the different fillers of this blend going around the table. So let's wait for him to start a new one so you can see. So first thing is, he takes the binder, and now he starts creating the blend, which is, he already knows the proportions, how many leaves of each one need to go into the blend. If you want to come around so you can see how he separates the tobacco, how he separates the tobaccos on the table. So he starts creating the blend in his hand. As you can see, by hand, he feels the proportion of the ring gauge and the weight that he needs by just him knowing what he's doing in his experience. So then he creates the bunch. One thing that we do at this factory, every single cigar that we make, everything is weighed. So he gives it the specific cut, and he weighs it first before putting it into the molds. Why do we weigh all the cigars? Because this is where we start factoring in the quality and the consistency of the product. There needs to be a specific weight, so it's not plugged, it's not underfilled, it's not overfilled. So we weigh everything before it goes into the molds. Another reason why we weigh it in this stage first is because after we're putting the wrapper on, you cannot fix a wrapper after it's put on the cigar. This, if the weight is a little bit under or over, he can fix it right there before he puts it in the mold. So after he does the bunches and he puts it in the mold, depending on the size of the cigar, it depends on the amount of time it takes for us to be able to turn the cigars in the mold and then give it to the roller as well. So let's give you an example. Let's say it's 30 minutes in the mold. It's different for every size and it varies a lot. But when he puts the cigars into the mold, let's say it's 30 minutes, halfway into the pressing, we open the molds and we turn the bunches. Why? Because you don't want to see the line of the press coming down the cigar. So we open it up and we turn them again, and then we press them again before it gets to the roller's hands. And then from here, we come to the rolling part. When the cigar bunches are ready to go, the mold comes out, and this is what we have. Obviously, the cigar is missing something, the wrapper. You don't want to sell this and smoke this. So let's wait for him to start a new one so I can explain. So first thing he does is he stretches out the wrapper as best as he can. That's why we maintain the wrappers very wet and humidity, to be able to stretch them out as much as you can so it looks smoother on the cigar. He gives it the specific cuts, and then he goes and he rolls the wrapper on the cigar. Looks very easy, but it's not. It looks simple and easy, but it's very complicated, because that's where you get into the details with the fingers of how to roll. Every cigar that we do here is triple cap, premium. He gives it the cut, and with the same wrapper he used to wrap the cigar, he cuts the tip of the cigar as well. That way it looks uniform. You don't want a tip to look different tone of color in the cigar. Then he gives it the cut for the size. While he finishes up this cigar, let's talk about the roll. Every single cigar that we make here, the wrapper, before it's put on the cigar, we flatten out the wrapper so the veins flatten out and you don't have a cigar with big veins popping up. So come over here. He wets the table. He gives it first the cut of what he's going to use, so he just rolls what he's using. So he gives it that cut, and then he takes the roller and he rolls the wrapper down. That way the veins are all flat and you don't see big veins popping out when you have the cigar in your hand. And then he just finishes the roll like he would do any other cigar. They average about 500 cigars a day. We keep them at that number because they want to make more, but we keep them at a limit because after a certain time, late in the afternoon, at the end of the day, they get more tired. They're thinking about leaving. There's a bunch of factors. So quality-wise, we keep them at 5, maybe 550 a day, but that's it. No more than that. We also little things like this. We have this piece of leather here, smooth and nice. That way the cigars, when they're here, less breakage, more treating them nice, more keeping everything good. And another thing that we do is when the supervisors come to the tables to check the cigars that have been rolled, they do a couple of things. One is they turn the cigar to look at the wrapper to see if the wrapper's rightly applied on. while they're doing that with these two fingers, they're touching the body of the cigar as well to notice if there's any soft spots in the cigar. So they do that, and after they do that, they weigh the cigars again. So we do another weighing of the product, because again, it's a natural product, it's human made, so we always have checks and balances to make sure that nothing happened on the first step. After it's been checked, weighed, then we tie them into a half wheel, and it goes into the aging room. I mean, look at these wrappers, man. Look at this.
I know, they look killer.
How clean those look. Look at the head, look at the turns. I mean, that's what we're looking for. What do you mean the turn? The triple cap. When we talk about the turn, triple cap, you see has 1, 2, and then the cap is like the third. So that's what you call triple cap in cigars. When you see it has the 2 turns and then the cap on, that is like premium quality, because when you cut the cigar, it doesn't unravel on you, it's like held up. And that's more of a premium thing. Every cigar that we do has triple cap on it. A lot of people always ask us the question, like, if they smoke cigars here, like if the cigar makers smoke cigars. Yeah, they do. We encourage it. We love that they smoke. They smoke while they're working, and every Friday we actually give them like a little pack of cigars so they can take home and smoke, because we encourage it. We love that they love what they do, especially because they smoke it. So it means they're doing good cigars.
So what's the difference with the cigars that make it on the top of the table, like here, versus on next to him?
The easiest way to explain, when the cigars are here, supervisor comes in, picks him up, he does the checks I told you, and up here, whatever he leaves here on the table, are cigars that might have something that we didn't approve. You see how that wrapper's a little spotty? This one might be body related. You see there's a little soft spot there? There you go. That's why this one was taken out. Correct. So that's why some of them are taken out. During the day, there's always a very small percentage that we try to keep as low as possible, of course, when we are checking the cigars, but obviously we're not going to allow cigar maker that we're taking out most of his production during the day. It's very minimal, but we always have to check, because it's a handmade product, you know? And people think we joke about this, but it's kind of true. Like, Mondays and Fridays are the days we're checking the most, because Fridays are dying to go out to drink, and Mondays are hungover. So those 2 days we're always checking, you know? So a lot of people want to know how we do pigtails or flatheads. There's different names for everything. So let's see how he rolls it, so you guys can see the difference there. You see at the end, before it was more about applying the cap, and now it's about applying that little fan tail at the end there. So it's a little bit different of a process.
I didn't even see him do it. It was so fast.
It was quick, huh? Let's wait for him to start a new one. We also do pigtails. They're more like the little balls that you wrap up. But it's crazy how this finish looks so nice. And what we do is, even after they're here, when the supervisors check these type of cigars, another step is added where they tighten up the pigtail and flatten it out with your fingers. It's getting a new mold. So he wraps the cigar, same as always, but just the finishing touches of the head is where it changes a little bit from the other cigars you saw. So that specific cut he gives, he leaves a little bit of extra on the side to be able to do the turn and have the extra tobacco to do the fan tail. Obviously when he finishes, it's going to be bigger than he wants, and so he might give it a little cut. There you go. And there we get to the fan tail that we're looking for. So even though you see that when the supervisor comes and checks, he takes every single cigar after he weighs and checks, and he tightens it a little bit more. Because when it's wet, it might unravel a little bit. So while it's drying, you gotta keep tightening it up so it stays that way.
Okay, here's a question. Can you, like, one, do you ever smoke cigars right off the table? And 2, what is the difference of smoking like a cigar that he literally places here versus
this is actually
a month from now or in the cigar lounge?
It's a good question. This actually goes back to a little bit of our conversation yesterday when we're making blends where we have to kind of smoke them fresh because we can't wait. It's kind of the same thing when we're rolling cigars. When we're rolling cigars to check if the blend is going according to what we like, we smoke off the table. It's the same mentality of when you're doing a new blend, where when you smoke it, you know it's wet. It might not burn a little wonky because of the wetness, and you might have a little bit of humidity in your mouth because the cigar is wet. But those are things you take out of your mind. So when you smoke, you're just confirming that the blend is there and it's coming through. And we also, besides the table, a week later, we check cigars in the aging when we smoke. You have to smoke. In this business, you have to smoke and check. So let's say they're doing this production, they start this week, we smoke off the table to confirm the blends are going how they're supposed to go. Next week, I pull cigars from the aging room to see how they're progressing. And after I check, like by the 3rd or 4th week that they have a month on them and we smoke and they're good, we just let them go to town. But we're always checking. That's one of the things we do every day in the main floor is take cigars, smoke, and check how everything is going.
Someone's got to do it, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it. If anybody wants to see a 60-rolled, big old 60s, so 6x60 cigar, we roll it the same. It's just obviously a lot bigger. Just so you guys can see the difference of how they look here. Obviously more tobacco when it's a fatter cigar. So you see when he prepares the cigar, he's going to be taking a lot more. Our guy Elvin here casing the joint. A lot of people might ask about the glue, Dave. Oh yeah. The glue. You see how I picked it up and he still needed his glue? I love it. Because he's work mode. So a lot of people ask about the glue. The glue is a natural cellulose extract from a tree. So obviously it has to be natural, FDA approved and all those things. And that is a dust that you buy and you just mix that with potable water. That's it. There's different formulas for the mixes. Why? Because some of them have to be stronger than others. Like if you're rolling a Mexican San Andres cigar with a thick wrapper, the glue needs to be thicker. If you're rolling a Connecticut like they are, it doesn't need to be that thick. So we just do different types of mixes with the water and the amounts you put in. But that's basically it. Obviously it has to be natural because it's something that you put in your mouth.
Yeah.
And this is how it looks like. It looks more like a gel when you mix it because it needs to have some thickness to be able to adhere right to the wrappers.
So here's the break too, right? So now he breaks and
Correct.
evenly distributes it.
Correct, because when you take, let me show you. When you take the filler tobaccos, you have the full leaf, right? So he is creating a blend in a sense of always the tips of the leaves are where you're gonna light the cigar. Why? Because the tips of the leaves are always gonna be the more intense in flavor. They have more sweetness and more everything. And obviously you wanna grab a smoker from the beginning of the cigar. So the tips are always gonna be where you light the cigar up. One thing that we do in this factory is when you cut, we take this part here and he distributes the tobacco inside the blend that goes in there, and then he creates the bunch of the cigar. So that's kind of like the order we do of things, the order of the way the leaves are put. We usually, when you stack the leaves in the cigar, it's more of a step process, you could call it, where the tips are not completely on top of each other. We leave a little bit of spacing, so but when you're smoking the cigar, the intensity keeps coming back. It's not like a flat cigar. And again, guys, we have the Drawmaster machine that we use for random checks. We can do a video of that later if you want me to show how it works. But basically the Drawmaster machine is a machine where you put the cigar in without the cap on, and it gives you the suction, like a number of where the suction needs to be. That's good for you to check cigars if you're not overweight or underweight. We do that for random checks because we believe the weight is more important than that. So why do we have that? Because we check the weights here before we're rolling the wrappers on the cigar. When I roll the wrapper on the cigar, if the bunch is not good, I'm losing wrapper. And wrapper is the most expensive part of the cigar that you buy. So for us, it's important that the weight needs to be on point. What is the weight? It varies by size. And it doesn't matter if it's the same size too. You can have a 5x50 Robusto that's Connecticut wrapper that has a specific weight, but you can have a 5x50 Robusto that has a Mexican or broadleaf wrapper. It's gonna be a little bit more heavy. So it's not even per size, it's by blend that we assign a weight. It's never exact, obviously, so there's a range. So let's say you can call a Toro, the range is between 15 grams and 16 grams. Everything inside of there works. Because again, nothing in this business is exact. It's a natural product made by hand, so it's all about the averages that you're always looking for. So Dave was asking me a question when he saw this gentleman here cutting the tips of those cigars, and he's like, what's going on here? So this is what's going on. When you produce cigars in a cigar factory, not every cigar comes out perfect, obviously. So there's always a percentage that you plan ahead of cigars that are taken out when we're sorting cigars in the shipping department to pack boxes. What are cigars that we take out? Some wrappers that got away that don't look good enough for what we want. Some of them might have spots on them. Some of them might be broken. So we don't throw those cigars away. We know that's a percentage we're always gonna have. So what we do is we re-roll the cigars. What is that? We simply take off the wrapper and we put a new wrapper on them. Why is he cutting it by hand? Because this already has the length of the cigar. So if I roll it and cut it, from a 5, it becomes a 4.5 or whatever it is. So we can't cut it because we need to keep the same size. So when you re-roll cigars and you wrap them, you have to finish up the cut with a pair of scissors like he's doing to be able to maintain the length of the cigar. That's basically what we're doing. We call it cigar re-rolls. So this is the filler department. This is where we prepare all the tobacco for the cigar makers. Again, cigar makers, we want them to make cigars. We don't want them to sort tobacco. We don't want them to pick leaves. We give them everything ready to go, and all they have to do is make cigars. So the first thing is we got a bale of tobacco here. This is how we buy the tobacco. This is how it arrives. This is all filler, right? So what are we doing here? This, for example, let's say this is a ligero bale. Because when you buy tobaccos, you either buy them in secos, visos, or ligeros. What is the easiest way to explain what a seco and viso and ligero is? The tobacco plant cares about the flower, funny enough. It doesn't care about the leaves. So all the nutrients go from the ground up to the flower. So always the higher primings in the plant are the most healthy because all the nutrients are going up to the flower. They're at the top, they get more sunlight, they get more water, so they're healthier leaves. So usually the ligeros and like the thick, intense, flavorful tobaccos are more on the higher part of the plant.
Okay, so is this why Death Florada, they take the flower off?
Correct,
right?
because
so
the nutrients expand.
Stop at the top.
They kind of expand because they don't have anywhere to go, so they just flow, you know? So, and then in the plant, the secos are the thinner tobaccos that are great for combustion. They have some flavor. Those are more on the bottom part of the plant. Why? Nutrients are going up, less sunlight, less water. And then the viso is the one in the middle of both of those. Not too thick, not too thin. So when you buy tobacco, you buy them either seco, visos, or ligeros. So what we do is, even though, let's say this is a bale of ligero, even though we bought it as ligero, we open up the whole bale and we sort it again. Why? Because from a bale of ligero, you might get a small percentage of visos or secos. And if you're putting that into a blend as ligero, and it's actually a seco or a viso, that's where you're getting consistency in the blends. So this is why we do the extra sorting here. And I'm mentioning the 3 main ones. We go even deeper as ligero is a thick leaf. We do a ligero thin and a ligero thick. We like go even deeper with the because that's how you maintain the consistency of the blends.
How about reclassifying? So like, let's say you buy a bale of a ligero.
Mm-hmm.
When you sort it, is there ever time where you're like, man, 20% of this bale should actually be viso?
It was a terrible buy then because ligero is more expensive. They get more expensive by time.
Where you're like, oh,
I mean,
this really shouldn't be.
It happens, but very small quantities because when we buy the bales, we open everything. We're one of the annoying buyers where we have to open everything, see the tobacco, smoke it. So most of the time we've seen what it is. But again, things happen where sometimes we might have bought a bale of ligero, 30% is viso, that's a terrible buy. But most of the time the suppliers are good enough that if I tell them that problem happened, they exchange it for me. It's not a problem. So what do we do when we open up this bale for the sorting? What are we doing? The first thing is literally just separating leaves all day because they are pressed together. So you don't want to give this to the cigar maker, so he has to do this. You want him to make cigars again. So what they're doing is, I remember I used to do this when I was a kid, and I would fall asleep on the table because it was all day, you know, just doing the same thing. But this is part of the process. You want the tobacco loose. That way when the cigar makers are making cigars, the leaves are loose. So that's the first part. The second part is sorting, like I told you. If we find any visos or secos, the way that we know is by the feel of the leaf, the thickness of it, and also the color of the leaf. You know when it's viso, seco, or ligero. It's tough to show on camera, but if I give you a seco leaf and a ligero leaf next to each other, they're way more thin. The secos are way more thin than the ligero leaves. So that's kind of the way that we look and sort. We know the colors, we know the look, and we know the feel of the leaves in what category it needs to go into. So after we do separating of the leaves and the sorting, they go into all these bins that we have around the filler department. These bins then have what the seed is, in this case it's Piloto Cubano, Ligero. And all these bins have the tobacco sorted to what we believe is the correct sorting. Again, what we believe. People might have a different way of sorting tobaccos, but the way that we do it, that's how we do it.
And that's what makes each factory unique, right?
Correct.
Because everything is a little subjective.
A lot of people ask me all the time, oh, can we take pictures here? I'm like, yeah, I don't care about pictures because every factory is the same. It's just different styles of doing things, you know? Some of the tobaccos, like what you're seeing here, it's a drying that we do to them. So all these tobaccos you see in these trays here, some of them show up with a little bit of humidity. That's another part of the process. When the cigar maker's making cigars, he's manipulating the leaves. If they're too dry, they're gonna break off in his hand. If they're too wet, when he does the bunch, they're gonna stay squished together. So we're trying to find that balance in the middle, that if you take a leaf when the cigar maker's making it, right, and you do this, you see how it's opening up a little bit? It's not too wet. You take it off your hand, no tobacco, not too dry. So that's the middle that you're looking for, so they can manipulate the leaves when they're making cigars on the table. So some of the tobaccos that we buy, they have a little bit of humidity to them. So we put them in these racks. We put them in a simple drying room with a dehumidification device where we're taking out the humidity. And when it gets to the point that I'm talking about, they bring it back out. Because in this factory, we don't do any fermentation, any bulks of tobacco. The way that we produce cigars is we buy the tobaccos ready to go. They've already been fermented, they've already been aged. All we do is take humidity out of some of them that have some humidity. That's it. Again, I don't think I'm the guy that knows everything. A lot of my suppliers have been working tobacco for as long as I've been alive. So I trust their process, I trust what they're doing, so I buy them ready to go. HVA ligero.
Yep.
HVA seco. Okay. At least in the camera, you can see right away. A lot lighter in color, a lot darker in color. So that's how you notice, one of the ways you notice the difference. And if you touch it, Dave, that you're here, you see how that one is a lot thinner? Look at the difference. It's a lot thicker. So that's how you know. More. And this is going to be more intense in flavor, more strong. The secos are better. They have some flavor, but it's mostly for combustion. It helps with the burn of the cigar as well. So that's what I'm going to explain to you. After we do all this sorting and everything is bins, we go to this corner right here. So after all the sorting has been done, tobacco has been sorted, they're in the bins, we start working what we call the pesadas. What's a pesada? This is a bag
exactly.
This is a bag that the cigar makers pick up. Okay. The ones that do the bunch that I showed you and explained in the other part. Yep. This is not for the rollers. Here's one of them coming to pick up. So for example, this is what they get, right? This is this bag deconstructed. So what's in this bag? So let's say
they each get one bag.
Yeah, correct.
All the components of the blend.
For 50 cigars. This is also
every 50 they have to pick them up.
Correct, because this is also where we start controlling the quality and consistency of the product. When they get this bag, there's enough tobacco to make 50 cigars. Okay. If they make 30 cigars with the bag, they're plugged. If they make 80 cigars with the bag, they're underfilled. So that's one step that we're checking right away. The other part is that we make them get up. So sometimes they want to pick up all the bags because they don't want to get up from their table. We're like, no, get up, because we want them to stretch. Get up, stretch, at least look around, fucking get back to reality here. So that's one thing that we make them do. The other part of this is for us to start controlling, one, how are they working during the day? Because again, I told you they make about 500 or 550 a day max. Right. 50 cigars per bag. We need 10 bags, let's say, per day. If it's 9 in the morning and you've worked 6 bags, hey, slow down, you're going too fast. What's going on here? Yeah. And the other way around is also true. Like if
they're paid by cigars.
Yeah, they're the only employees in the factory that earn what they make are cigar makers.
So you have to watch them even more closely with production, because they
want to make more and more and more and more. Correct. Correct. I see. And also, this is why everybody else is on payroll, and this is why we limit them, because they want to make as much as they can and sometimes as quick as they can. Yeah. So this is part of that control. Because there also needs to be controls as to how quick they're being rolled and the quality they're putting into the product. So this is how we check. And the other way around, if it's 11 in the morning and he's worked 2 bags, what are you doing here today? Yeah. You're not working too much. So that's just how we control. And controlling these quantities gives us also, because this is planned, because this has tobacco for 50 cigars, we've weighed all the tobaccos to give you enough for 50 cigars. It's not exact, 49 to 51, inside that range, they're good. So what is this bag? Let's say your blend has 3 tobaccos in the fillers. So bag 1, 2, and 3. We number the bags. They know on the table that tobacco 1 always goes here, tobacco 2 goes here, tobacco. That's what you see on the table. Everything is organized in a way that we make it easy for them, that they don't have to remember what the order of the tobaccos are. Because some of them might not even notice the difference in the tobacco leaves on the table. Right. They might look the same to them, So that's why we give them the order with the number of the bags. And then after that, what we do is, let's say this tobacco in the blend has 1 leaf in the blend. Obviously, we got to count 50 leaves. We count that once, and then everything going forward, we weigh it. So we count 50 leaves, and we weigh those 50 leaves, and that weight gives you the amount you need for every bag. Because if not, we have to be counting leaves all day, you know? So we count the 50, oh, it weighs whatever. Going forward, we just weigh the leaves with that amount, and that goes into the bag for the amount of tobacco they need. And they also get the binders in this bag as well, at the bottom here.
Okay.
Because they're the ones that work with the binders and the fillers.
Okay, can you explain the difference between binder and wrapper?
The easiest way for me to tell you what the difference is between a wrapper and a binder was a wrapper that was too ugly to be a wrapper.
Okay.
That's the easiest way to explain
And
it.
what makes a wrapper?
Well, what makes it...
Because it's all like, it's the same plant.
Yeah, it's
and there's a Seco,
correct.
Miso, Lajero.
It's a
but then where does wrapper come from?
Wrappers mostly high primings, the better quality it is, because they also sell cheaper wrappers that are, we call them XLs. The XLs are wrappers that are broken on one side of the leaf and good on the other one. And those are usually more on the bottom parts of the plant. But for us, the wrapper needs to be clean, smooth, uniform in color, no spots, no tones, anything, because that's what you see in the finished product. Right. The binder can have spots, can have holes, can be different colors, because you don't see that in the finished product, and it doesn't affect the taste if it has a hole in it. So a binder is a wrapper that's too ugly. It has holes, it has spots, it's smaller, it's not as smooth, it's different tones and colors.
So do you purchase binder-specific bales?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah.
That's already sorted to binder grade.
Every time you buy wrapper, when you sort the bale, you get a small percentage of binders, but you buy binder and you buy wrapper because binder is cheaper than wrapper.
Right.
Because binder is less quality, so it's going to be cheaper. Wrapper is always going to be the most expensive part because it's the one that needs to be the closest to perfect.
Sure.
Because it's what you see in the finished product. Wow. And your guys, I know, ask a lot of us, and they want their cigars to look beautiful, so that's part of that process as well. Let's go to the wrapper and binder department so you can see. So this is a wrapper binder area. We're working two types of things, wrapper and binder. So the first thing that we do is, when you're sorting wrapper, we check as much as we can. Like we spoke before, is it uniform in color? Any spots, any holes? And also you have to sort by size, because I can't give you a wrapper this big for a Churchill that's 7 inches long, or vice versa. So we also have to sort it by size. What are we doing here is, this is a very nice, look at this wrapper. An Habano from Ecuador. Look how beautiful it is. So this is a full leaf of wrapper. Hey, dígame. This is a full leaf of wrapper. This is two leaves for 2 cigars. So what they do is, they take the stem at the back here, and all they do is, they take it and they de-stem the wrapper. That way you have 2 leaves. Every full leaf gives you 2 wrappers per cigar. So what they're doing here is they're just de-stemming, sorting by size, sorting by type, sorting by colors. They also have a little bit of water next to them that you can see over there, because they're always wetting the palms of their hands to be able to maintain the wrapper as wet as possible, because you need to have it very humid so they can really stretch it out as much as they can on the tables. One of the crazy things that I like to do here is, you see we get 2 parts of the leaves. We separate the left and the rights for the lefties and the righties when they make cigars. Why? When a righty is rolling a cigar with his powerful hand, it's more of a smooth roll. If you give him a left side of the leaf, they can still roll it, but they have to kind of like pivot their body a little bit. And it's not as smooth as their natural motion. Obviously, we have more righties than lefties here, so when it gets to a point where we have a lot of left sides, we're going to roll them, of course. We're not going to store them and not use them. But we do that to help the cigars look even smoother when they're rolled. If we go over here, you'll see the difference from wrapper coming to binder. You see how it looks different right away? It looks more rough, let's call it that. Because again, binder is a wrapper that was too ugly to be a wrapper. It can have spots, it can have holes, it can look different colors. It doesn't matter, because you don't see that in the finished product, and it doesn't affect the blend of the cigar. So that's basically how we do the sorting for the binders, the same as the wrapper. It's just quicker and easier because we're just sorting by size. With wrapper, you're adding the tones, the colors, the spots, everything. So it's a little bit longer process as well. Dave was asking me, what's this chair with all these phones here? Well, when we're working, no phones allowed. We want them to concentrate on what they're doing. So the phones are here just in case anybody gets an emergency call, but no phones when we're working, so we keep them here.